Welcome everybody to our latest Prime Target webinar. This time we're going to be talking about social media analytics for international marketers and how Prime Target leverages social media data in our platform. I'd like to walk you through a couple case studies from outside companies aside from Prime Target and how they've used social media analysis for business value. The first thing we'll talk about is Barclays. If you're not familiar with Barclays, it's a banking institution, and they released an app called Ping It. If you're not familiar with Ping It, it's a peer-to-peer money transfer app similar to Venmo, where Barclays account holders can send money and transfer money between other people on their friends list. Once they launched that in the following days post-launch, they leveraged social media data to gather informal feedback from their customers and then actioned on it to improve their product. How did they do it? Barclays collected the user-generated content from social media platforms that contained keywords relevant to their Ping It app and the company. They then leveraged a social media company called Sentiment Metrics and produced a sentiment analysis on the resulting content about their Ping It app. And you can see this chart is directly from that analysis. In this case, if they said maybe we had 1,000 tweets, for example, most of them would have a neutral sentiment. The next largest part would be positive sentiment around the product. And then the last small chunk is still negative tweets or negative social media content. Then they dug into the small amount of negative social media content to find out what consumers didn't like. Dave Birch, for example, found that he wanted to send money to his children, but it didn't work because currently at the time, the Ping It app did not allow people under 18 to transfer money, even if they were already Barclays customers. And they found that other parents also had the same problem. Within a week, they had opened the platform up to 16 and 17-year-olds to alleviate these customer complaints. But it's not just about negative tweets. They also looked at positive tweets to find out what consumers liked about their product. They noticed that some customers, such as Matt Bryan, thought that being able to check their balances on a matter of seconds with their home screen was a wonderful feature, even though that's not what the Ping It app was meant to do. So what Barclays did then was create some spin-off apps to fulfill that need in the market, rather than just push all the features into the Ping It app. The next case study I'd like to talk you through is for a company called H&M. If you're not familiar with H&M, it's a clothing retailer. I know they operate at least in the United States, but I'm sure they're a global brand as well. And how they used social media to measure the value of a product endorsement campaign on social media. So what they did was they ran 4 new celebrity endorsement campaigns via social media platforms. So they would say, here's our clothes, and we have some celebrities, and those celebrities are going to endorse these products in social media channels. And they wanted to find a way to measure the effectiveness of these campaigns. So they leveraged the resulting social media data to find the answers that they needed. Here's how it worked. They collected the social media content in response to their different celebrity endorsements. So if it was a tweet, they might look at retweets or reply tweets. They measured the volume of the content and the sentiment of the content to understand the engagement with their endorsement campaigns. What they really found was that the endorsement success of these campaigns was dependent on the geographical region in the market. If you are familiar with our other webinar series, you might have watched our series on the Hofstede cultural differences, which talk about how cultures and customs for different markets can affect consumer response. And this was a direct action or a direct observation of that effect. What they really learned was that their endorsements either need to come from different people or use a different messaging for different markets. You wouldn't market the same way to an African market as you would to a European market, for example. What they also learned was that some markets are naturally low engagement on social media platforms, and instead they decided to use more offline campaign strategies for these markets. Finally, what I'd like to do is talk you through the Prime Target solution and how Prime Target leverages social media data. Social media data is a large part of our process in helping exporters form their global strategy. For us, it's really an indirect measure of latent customer attitudes, thoughts, and preferences towards your consumer engagement and market size. Here's our process. First, we'll collect relevant keyword phrases to your company, product, and industry, as well as your competitors. Whenever you create a Prime Target request, you submit the keywords that you think are relevant, but our team, our consultants, will curate those keywords to ensure that they're relevant to your strategy. Then we'll search for social media content that pertains to those keywords. We run a sentiment analysis algorithm on each piece of user-generated content so we can understand whether customers are generally positive or negative or neutral about the keywords that we selected. Then we also check engagement by examining content volume per market. The results are aggregated at the keyword and market level, and then we analyze them and make some conclusions based on the data. Here's an example. If we have a client that is trying to sell oils, different types of vegetable oils or virgin sesame oil or peanut oil, then we could run a sentiment analysis on tweets that contain these different keywords. And what we can see is that for French oil and hazelnut oil and walnut oil seems to have the most positive sentiment out of the three against all markets. We can see that the United States and the United Kingdom have the two largest volumes of tweets with respect to these keywords. Here, this helps us identify which product and branding was viewed most positively across all markets for the relevant keywords. Then we'll do a sentiment analysis by country, where we look at the volume of positive, neutral, and negative tweets for each country. In this case, we can see that the United Kingdom, for example, has a much larger share of neutral and less share of positive tweets compared to the United States, France, and Canada.
I hope to see you again on our webinars, and we wish you excellent results on international markets, and yes, go global wisely.